Hi, I'm Zansari, and this is the third video in a series about ChatGPT Custom Instructions. In this video, I'm going to be talking about writing your own custom instructions and also how you might manage custom instructions. So, if you recall, in the previous videos, we've talked about two different ways in which we can create custom instructions or use them in ChatGPT. The first was a persona or role workflow where we created different custom instructions for each particular task. And the second was a more generic workflow where we created sort of some generally good custom instructions that were useful for multiple tasks. And you might recall that the benefit of the persona or role workflow is that sometimes you can get better performance, but it is a bit more work to try and figure out exactly what is the so-called job description for each of these different tasks. Whereas the generic workflow might just be a bit easier to use. Well, uh, as I mentioned in this video, what I'd like to introduce is the idea of thinking about custom instructions as also something that you can write yourself by using a custom instruction writer, which is essentially creating some custom instructions that will help you write better custom instructions. So here's an example. On this page, you can see that just consistent with some of the principles we've used before in custom instructions, like goal, context, the rules, input and output kind of format. Here I've written down just directions for a custom instruction writer. And the intention here is that you can put this into ChatGPT and then you can interact with this assistant in order to create custom instructions that are useful for a particular task. And so I'll just give you an example of what this looks like. So here, and I've experimented with this a couple of times, here I've got some custom instructions. So I've taken those ones from that slide deck and just put them here into ChatGPT. I've said, I want you to help me maintain my secondhand bike, and I've given like a tiny bit of information, right? I'm a novice, I don't have any tools, I have a limited budget. And so here ChatGPT has created the mission, context, rules, instructions, input and output, consistent with what the custom instructions said. And then in addition, I've also requested that it ask me for feedback because the first set of custom instructions might not be perfect. And so I might give some feedback at this point. It would then recreate the custom instructions, and we kind of keep going until we're like pretty happy with it. And so if I have like quite a large task to do, for example, I'm trying to write a report, or I'm trying to get kind of like more complex advice, or set up, a task that I think probably is worth like 15-20 minutes of setup time, then I might go through this process where I'm creating kind of custom instructions. And if we imagine that we're happy with this, then what we can do is we can copy the instructions down here. If you use this little clipboard, it will copy the formatting as well, and then go into your custom instructions. And then here you can just paste them as is, and then I'll just delete the feedback request. One thing that's worth noting is that sometimes the custom instructions that it generates are like too long. It's quite a limited length of space here. So what you could do is you could put it up here on the top. You could split them between them. There's complicated reasons as to why that might not work. For some reason, it seems like the top box is not followed as closely as the bottom box. The other thing that you could do is you could just kind of cut back on some of this information. Perhaps, in fact, the instructions are not that important. Instead, what's most important is some of the rules, the context, and the mission. And so if we save this, and then we create a new chat, and so this is now using those bike mechanic custom instructions, maybe we would ask something like, my brake lever feels soft. What could be the problem? And the ChatGPT custom instructions have kind of guided the likely response. So you can see here, it says, keeping in mind your beginner level and budget constraints, like that's something that we have communicated to it through the custom instructions. Okay, so the last thing I guess I'll just mention in this video is that when you start to build a bunch of custom instructions, it becomes a huge hassle to switch between them. And there are some extensions around them to help you manage that. The easiest one I found to use is just called Custom Instructions Storage, which I'll just re-enable 1 second. So this is the Custom Instructions Storage add-on. You can get it for free from the Chrome Web Store. And once you've enabled it, then when you go to your custom instructions, you'll see some additional kind of fields. And so here you can select a prompt if you have already stored it. And so when you want to add a prompt, imagine that I want to save this bicycle mechanic prompt so I can use it in the future. I click here, add a prompt, and scroll down here, and I can say, put it in here and save it in this bottom section. And then I can select it from here in the future. And so you can see here I've already sort of experimented with this a bit, but here you could say, bike maintenance or bicycle mechanic, and it's just loaded that in. And so when I create a new chat, it will kind of continue with that. So there's a whole bunch of extra kind of like links out there. You can go to this for that extension. The role-based custom instructions were based on this work by David Shapiro, and the auto expert custom instructions were based on this work by Dustin Miller. So if you go to those sites, you can actually copy those straight into your ChatGPT. Thanks.